Good morning, Crestview. Good morning. As Mr. Bill mentioned, my name is Janae Morgan, and I am the location leader for the local Isaiah117 house here in McLennan County. I see so many faces that I recognize that have been a part of our ministry in just so many different unique ways, from golf tournament to lemonade sales to volunteering to wrapping Christmas gifts. The whole shebang is right here in this room, which is so appreciative. And because of that, because of your ongoing support, we did want to come and give an update of where we are as a ministry right now, 6 months into having an open home and 3 years into kicking off this ministry here in Waco. Our state director, Sarah Miller, is the one that really kicked off the efforts here in McLennan County, and she's unable to be here with us today. But she and I collaborated with a group to create a video of the before. Why would we bring an Isaiah117 house to Waco? And so we have a short video that we're going to talk through how it even began, and then I'll come back up and give you some of those updates. Thank you.
I knew of children who were sleeping in our local CPS office, and they were waiting on someone to say yes, for someone to care for them and to take them in and meet their needs. And I simultaneously heard of Isaiah117 House and just knew that we needed something like that in our community. In 2017, my husband and I became foster parents, licensed foster family. And we welcomed in numerous children into our home in several years. And regardless of the situation of their removal day, we felt holes in it. Caseworkers were tired and hungry and stressed when they came to our house at 2 a.m. Children were not clothed, or they had clothes that were the wrong sizes. They had nothing with them whenever they entered our home. They filled all those holes that my husband and I saw in 2017. They had a place for children to go, to be fed and clothed. They send them away with a week's worth of belongings. So clothes fit, hair is brushed, and then they're also welcoming in the caseworkers. So I reached out to a few women, and there were 5 women in our community who came together, including myself in the beginning, to learn more about the ministry, to hear what the steps were, and to dream about the reality of bringing a home here that could serve children. We began planning for the expansion kickoff, which is the first time that the community really gets to hear the story of Isaiah117 House, how we can meet a need, how we can serve kiddos in the community. And we worked really hard just to raise awareness in the community and rally the Lord's people and just share the story.
The most impressed I have been is how the community has stepped up.
We raised over $550,000 in one day, and we saw people come with every little bit that they had, just to make the dream a reality. We had men from ABC Supply and Clark's Roofing lean over the table and say, if we donate materials, could you guys donate labor? And just like that, the Isaiah117 House had a roof donated. We had that happen time and time again, with people saying, you need windows? We do windows. You need an HVAC unit? We've got you. Plus, we'll give you an extra. And it has just been so neat to see the whole entire community give of what they have to give. We started with 5 women, and now we have over 100 people who have been involved behind the scenes, who are serving, and we have even more in the community who are supporting in the way that they can. that's my hope for the future, is that no child would have to sit in a cubicle or in a conference room because there's a home.
If you are looking for something meaningful to do, this is a project you need to invest your life in. Because it will make a difference in the lives of these children. Give them a new beginning.
Okay, so if we just left now, that would probably answer some of your questions and let you know where we are at, especially if you have never seen inside of the beautiful home. I've got some more pictures and other slides, but I just want to start a little bit back at the beginning of what we do, what our mission is. Like I said before, I see so many familiar faces, but I know there's also some of you sitting out there that are like, we actually don't know anything about Isaiah117 House. And so backing up a little bit, we have a 3-part mission that I alluded to in the video, and that is first and foremost to reduce trauma for all children on their removal day. 2-day-olds straight from the hospital, they're experiencing trauma. 17-year-olds that are just a week away from aging out of foster care, they're experiencing trauma. They are both being taken from their homes of origin, siblings, pets, schools, and being plucked up and taken to a place where they do not know what to expect. And prior to June, that location was an office cubicle. Downtown, our caseworkers took them to their office because that was the only choice. And that could cause some trauma. And so that first point now is lived out with an open home. When those children are removed, they come to this place. Their caseworkers are saying the whole way there, we've prepared a place for you. In this moment, you are going to get to meet some of my friends. You're going to get to pick what you want for dinner. And that's exactly what happens. They come through our red door, and they are met by a team of caregiver volunteers that get to look them in the eye and say, hey, baby, whatever just happened out there, that was not your fault, and I am so glad you are here. They get to smell the cookies that are baking that our volunteers have already started for them. And then they get to start experiencing what we call a yes day of sorts. Do you want mac and cheese? How about playing out in the backyard? Let's go shower and get some brand new clothes. And it's completely child-led to where we just say, what would make your heart happy in these moments? The second part of our mission is to help caseworkers, to walk alongside caseworkers and help carry their load. Caseworkers, if you've heard me talk before, you've heard me say this because I will not ever speak in front of a group without letting people know how much we adore all of the men and women at Child Protective Services. But if you think about the job that they have to do, it's one that no human should ever have to do, and that's going into a home that is all these children know, and making a decision for them. Is these conditions right here, dire enough in which I must choose to remove them, or can they stick it out and make it? I can't imagine making that choice, but our friends at CPS do. And so if we can lighten their load in any way by encouraging them, praying over them, changing the diapers and giving the baths so that they can make the phone calls to the relatives, then we're living out our mission. And then thirdly, we exist to empower foster families to say yes to placements. I know this church family has foster parents in it, and you guys have likely rallied around them when a placement is found. But think about the grandma that is not prepared for the phone call of 3 of her grandsons entering foster care. Do you want them or do you not? Well, she lives on a fixed income and doesn't have enough grocery money to feed 3 of her teenage grandsons. But at Isaiah 117 House, if we can say, hey, how about we give you some HEB gift cards to help stretch that? And we'll get the school supplies. We'll get the khakis they need for work. We will even get the tie they need for the school dance. Then maybe, just maybe, we can ease that transition into what we call a kinship or a relative placement and make that easier. Likewise, for the foster families you do have, when you say yes to foster care, you think you might be prepared, but then when you get the call for the child, they actually come with a slew of siblings, and you can't say no. And so you need 3 car seats and a set of bunk beds. And at Isaiah 117 House, we can say, we've got you. Let's help you ease that transition by getting those physical items that you need to say yes. And so as I mentioned, we were able to rally the community and build this beautiful home. We did open our doors on June 16th to fully live out this mission. And before midnight, we had our first guest. Waco was just waiting for a place to call home. And we are so grateful that we are that place. That day that we opened our home, I just included a few pictures of that ribbon cutting celebration because really that's what it was. We were celebrating the goodness of every single business and donor and civic organization that said yes to helping us get to this place. And so I want to share with you guys some numbers since we opened our doors on June 16th. I have to do little plus signs when I make these PowerPoints because it's ever changing. But as of midnight, actually about 12:30 a.m. this morning, we had children in that home. And so I sat down and made this PowerPoint on a Thursday, and the most accurate number is since June of 2024, we have been able to love on 77 children. Think about that. That means in not even quite 6 months, 77 children have been completely uprooted for everything they know, and would have gone downtown to an office to wait in a cubicle for a home to be found for them. But instead, we are honored and grateful that we have this home open now so that they are met by those caregiver volunteers. 35 plus caseworkers. Why is that important? Well, I actually wasn't even prepared for how important it was for caseworkers to see that there are people in this community that love them and support them in what they do, because we know it is hard. We had been open for just a few weeks when I got a call from a local pastor. And he said, I don't know what you guys are doing in that home, but we have caseworkers visiting our church congregation now, saying that they're feeling Christ's love in a tangible way for the first time in their lives. And that right there was part of our mission, but not what we thought our biggest target audience was going to be. So that is the Lord and his goodness creating and raising up children in the form of caseworkers. And then something about our home that some of you may or may not know, it is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Removals don't happen at the perfect 10 a.m. slot while your children are in PDO. They normally happen about 9:30 p.m. when you've made unwise choices as the adult all day long and it caught up with you. And so we have to be ready. Saturdays, Friday afternoons. And we can't do that with paid staff because then we would have no funding or donations for those children. And so we have raised up an army, as Sarah said, of volunteers that step into this space. And if that's something that you are interested in doing, I would invite you into that, and I'll give more information on that in just a little bit. But truly, this home operates because of the help from our community. And so we have seen over 65 volunteers come into the space and welcome the hard, even if it's just to sit in the corner and pray. It so matters, and it will touch your life. just by being there to serve others, for sure. Something else we pride ourselves on being able to do is welcome the kids and then have them leave with their head held high, full of dignity and belongings as they head off to their next placement. And so we have something called our giving room, which is a half story upstairs. These are up-to-date photos of our giving room. And every single bin is taken over by what we call a bin buddy. That might be we have a sports team, we have a Cubs troop, but so many individuals and life groups that have committed to filling a bin for a full calendar year. So when children come into our home, they're able to go upstairs and go shopping. Everything's brand new with tags. They're trying on clothes. They're throwing bins. We are up there, color matching makeup. All the fun stuff up there that they have not gotten to experience in their real life, right? And so this is just a huge tangible need being met, and each one of those over 100 bins represents someone that has said yes to this mission alongside us. Beautiful picture of just Christ's love and sharing resources there. Now, it does say packed 90 bags, but we've only seen 77 children. What does that mean? You guys also may be aware that children find their way to McLennan County to be in foster care, even though they're not from McLennan County. For instance, we just had a friend get a baby this week, baby straight from NICU that was surrendered or removed in the Bell County Hospital in McLean's. And so that child didn't make it to our house. It was a Bell County caseworker that picked up that child and placed them in McLennan County. But you better believe, as an organization, we rally around that family. Car seats, formula, diapers, wipes, anything that child could need. And because of that, we have served a good 20 additional children other than the 77 that we have seen in our home. And so that's why that number is larger, and that's why our bin buddies are so important, because we don't want to have to say no. No, your placement came from Amarillo. I hope someone else can figure it out. We welcome them to Waco with a massive amount of goodies to help them be successful. Okay, next. Okay, this is the fun part, and this is me just wrapping up how you can get involved. I even hesitated to put this slide up here just because when I say that this church family is involved already, I mean it. And so if you're sitting there like, whoo, Janae, well, I already do a lot. Thank you. Just hear me say that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But if you are looking for other tangible ways to get involved with our community, whether that's time, money, resources, I didn't want, it would not be wise of me to not let you know. So we are wrapping up right now what we call our Santa Pals Christmas Drive. Why would Isaiah117 House do a Christmas drive when Blue Santa does and Salvation Army and all of these other places? Our why is because those other places take wish lists, and there's always a cutoff. That cutoff may be December 4th. It may be November 17th. But whatever the case is, wish lists are filled out for children. But children enter foster care on December 23rd, 24th, 25th. And so we have a Christmas drive in which we can set up a Christmas store at the local CPS office. And when situations arise in which we really need a Spider-Man bike, we'll be ready. So that's why we have that drive, and would invite you guys to be a part of that next year because it is wrapping up for this year. We also do what we call Loving on CPS. Again, those are our friends at Child Protective Services, and our team goes once a month to their office. We know they are busy. They are sitting through court hearings. They're out in the field making removals. They're in training, and we still want them to know how much we appreciate them. And to do that, we have found that it's easiest to just go sit in their office And so that's what we do. I think they like it and it's not annoying, but we've been doing it for about 3 years just to show consistency and that we are doing what we mean. We're saying what we mean and we're doing it. And so the way that we have community members get involved there is if you own a business or as an individual, if you want to step up for a month in 2025 and say, in fact, last month it was Nightlight Christian Adoptions. And they said, we want to walk alongside you in doing that. And so they joined us in our mission. They prayed over the caseworkers and gave them a little token of appreciation. So if that's something that you would like to do, it's on that QR code to contact us for that. Bin buddies, those roll over annually. And so this spring, we're going to need a whole new set of bin buddies to commit to pajamas, diapers, toothpaste. And so if that's something that you even want to take to your life group and start praying about now, how could we get involved? We would encourage you to do that. Spread the love. If you have ever seen our red hearts around town, just sprinkled through yards, that's what that is. And truly, that is an awareness and to bring smiles when you turn the corner of an old Lorena and didn't know that that business was going to have hearts, just to bring smiles. And so if you are wanting to show love, spread love throughout February, let us know. We also host spring fundraisers every April. More information to come on that, but we are going to do a 50s sock hop this April. It's going to be fabulous for sure. And so I can get you guys more information. And then one of the things that this church does so well is lemonade stands in July. You are one of our biggest contributors to that fundraiser, and we are always living in shock and awe when we see how much the Lord allows our ministry to raise through glasses of lemonade. So thank you for being just a consistent there. No pressure for next year, but you should consider it. And then if you are hearing this and you're like, well, I actually had no idea that you guys used volunteers in the home, we will be training new volunteers in early 2025. And so there is on that QR code as well a link that you can fill out an application, and we'll be in touch with you about that. This QR code and more information is out on the welcome table. Miss Pam let me squeeze some things on there. She gave me permission. And so if you guys want to grab a rack card with some additional information back there to contact us, we would love for you to do so. And I believe, Mr. Bill, is that enough for local stuff for you? Okay. Great. So that is where I end because I am just a small part of this ministry here in Waco, in which I'm grateful to be. But this ministry is so much more than just our location. And so I'm going to invite my friend and the regional coordinator of Isaiah117 House, Andrea Smedgehammer, up. And she is going to tell you, give you a bigger picture of what we do throughout the nation. Thank you, guys.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. It's a pleasure to be here. I think one of the biggest honors and privileges that I have being a regional coordinator is that I get to come and see communities that are have the mission and the mindset and wanting to serve and wanting to grow just like you guys. And so it's a real privilege. You've got a beautiful church and beautiful people. And so just thank you for letting us come. I would love, I have the privilege of being a direct support to an area of homes. And so I would love to just give you a report on kind of where Texas is. And then Rhonda will come later and give us really organizational wide. But our first open home in Texas was Dallas County. They opened in June of 2023. They have served over 430 kids since they've been open. Since this last June, they've served over 230 children. It really is amazing. When Janae said that communities are just waiting or caseworkers are just waiting for a home, it is really true. And as soon as it's open, they have no problem bringing the children because of how much we do reduce trauma and lighten their load. So Dallas County, one of the homes that is not far from here is Williamson County in Georgetown. They are in the middle of building. They've got studs up, and we're fixing to have a Holy Graffiti event there. So they should be opening within some time in 2025. We have just launched, because when we come to communities, there's a process. And so the beginning of the process, just like you guys, is the expansion stage. And we just launched that in the Piney Woods, Tyler area. So that expansion is going to be serving all of Region 4. And so not specific to one county, but we're going to be serving all of Region 4. So all of this is really just an update for you also. If you know people in these areas, you can say, hey, you should go check this out. They need people, so direct them our way. So that is kind of my region that I serve, but we do have another region that is close to the Houston area that the Montgomery-Walker counties are going to be 2 counties that are teaming up. They're actually going to have, they're opening after the first of the year, so that's really, really exciting. We have a Fort Bend County in the Houston area that is still in expansion. They're looking for land and hopefully going to be starting construction soon. And then we have Brazoria County that is in the middle of construction. So with all of these homes that aren't open yet, last year they served or removed over 1,500 children. So if you think about that, man, we are moving into a place that we really, truly are going to make a difference in these communities and serving children. I would like, if you don't mind for a second, just to get a little personal. So my family, we have 7 children. We became foster parents in 2009. And I'm just going to be really honest that when we became foster parents, I really didn't think about removal day as a foster family. I thought about what it looked like with them coming to my home and preparing my home for what it would look like entering my home. I didn't really process or think about what removal day. And it's made me think over the course of time of being part of this ministry is that if I, as a foster family, didn't really have a radar on what removal day was or looked like for these children, there's so many people in the community that just have no idea. And so bringing these to the communities is really just making people aware. And once you're made aware, you can't not look away. Or you can't look away. You've got to face the problem. And so seeing all of you here is such an encouragement because you're basically saying, now I know, and now I'm going to be a part of what's going on. And, part of it, we're hopefully going to spread all over Texas. And it would be amazing if one day we could say that there's not one child on removal day that had to sit in a cubicle or an office, right? Part of that, though, is that we are creating markers in time for children. And if you think about your own life, and I've had to ponder this for myself, we can look back over our life and see these markers of time that God had people in our life, had an event that happened, that maybe at that moment in time we didn't realize what the significance of it was, but now where we are, we can look back and go, you know what, God ordained that moment for me to know that I was loved and I was cared for and that I was not alone. And if he's doing that for us, that's exactly what we're creating for these children in this home, is they come into this home and maybe that day they don't understand the significance, but when they're moving along in life, and life is hard, we know that, they can look back and you go and have those moments of time that are just like, you know what, life has been really hard. I wouldn't have picked that to be my story, but I know that there was a moment in time that God ordained for this transition to happen so that I would know that I was not alone and that this wasn't my fault, and that there's hope for me, right? On the flip side, as a believer, we need to be reminded, right? When we're not just serving children, this is a way that the Lord serves me and serves you, because we need to be reminded of what he accomplished for us on the cross, right? And so when we serve children in this home and we're telling them, you are not alone, you are seen, us serving those children is a way that God is saying that to you and to me, of like, I see you when you serve me. And so I just hope that as you pour yourself into this ministry and as you see that you would be encouraged even in your own walk in the Lord in that. And I think the biggest encouragement for all of us is that we can truly agree together that this is not our home, right? We have a greater glory that we're looking forward to. And that's why we can serve in this way, not knowing what the story is on the end, knowing that one day all things will be made right. There will be no sadness, there would be no crying, and all of these stories will be redeemed in a way that glorifies the Lord. And so thank you so much for serving, and I just pray, and as you see where we're going in Texas, that this will be a way that you can pray and share with your friends, and we just really appreciate all that you do to serve in this ministry. And so now we're going to have Rhonda share with us, that was saved the best for last, right? Rhonda share with us on where we are really nationwide with Isaiah117 House.
This is Rhonda Paulson, the founder and executive director of Isaiah117 House, and I'm coming to you from Tennessee. Another tender Tennessee Christmas. There's snow on the ground, and it is cold in Tennessee. I wish I could be with you in Texas this morning, but unfortunately, a video is all I've got. But I've got some amazing news to share with you concerning Isaiah117 House. It has been an unprecedented year for our organization. We opened several homes this year, getting us to a total of 29 open homes. We actually have home number 30 scheduled for Montgomery Walker, Texas in January. That'll be January 26th, home number 30. We'll cut that ribbon in January right there in your state of Texas. We have 29 open homes. We have 57 total locations across 12 states. Since 2018, when we first opened our doors, we have served over 6,000 children. That's not counting this year. This year alone, as of November 1st, we have served over 3,000 children. By the end of 2024, we will have served almost 9,000 children total. God is so good and so kind. And little white houses with red doors across this nation are welcoming his children on one of their hardest days. We wish we didn't have to exist, but we are so humbled and so grateful that we get to welcome his children and love on them in his name. As for Texas, things just keep getting bigger in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. Communities continue to reach out. And as for your home right there in McLennan County, it is serving children constantly. There are beautiful things happening right there in your community. Janae, Andrea, Sarah, I cannot thank you enough for the work that you are doing right there in your community and for the ways that you're living out this mission. It makes my heart so happy to know that there are such amazing women carrying on this mission so many miles away. I would love to end our time together this morning with a story from an open home. This is a story that's just on my heart this Christmas season. Post-2020, we have seen a lot of teenagers. Teenagers are often scary to the outside world. You know, to the outside world, teenagers are a folder with a lot of scary terms and a lot of scary vocabulary and words. But inside an Isaiah117 house, a teenager becomes a real kid. A teenager is a scared little kid. And we do not say teenagers are hard cases. We say teenagers have hard stories. And so we had a teenage boy with a very hard story in one of our homes. And we were lavishly loving on him, and honestly, we weren't getting much back in return. And that's okay. Sometimes that's true. But we continued to lavishly love on him. Not a lot of eye contact, not a lot of giving back and forth. But we're just going to do what God has called us to do. This 15-year-old boy stayed with us for almost 3 days. Not a lot giving back. It's okay. We're just going to lavishly love, and that's what we continued to do. But honestly, we didn't know if we were getting through. On the last day that he was with us, he was getting ready to walk out the door, and as he walked down the hallway, there was a chalkboard, and he stopped, and he picked up a piece of chalk, and he started writing on the chalkboard, and we were all kind of holding our breath. And he wrote, "You do not need to be afraid. They will take good care of you." And he walked out. We all went running over, and we read those words. We knew in that moment that God's love had broken through. That doesn't happen in a cubicle or a conference room. That happens in a home where God's people show up to be his hands and feet. That is what is happening in your Isaiah 117 house, thanks to you and your community and your support. And so during this season of giving, we ask that you continue to support us so that we can have more stories like that, more stories of breakthrough where God's love is felt on a really hard day. Thank you, Texas. Thank you for embracing Isaiah 117 house. Thank you for believing in us, but more importantly, thank you for believing in the children of your community. Merry Christmas.
I think the first thing we need to do is to thank these people, whether you're online, watching at home live, clap at home, and let's clap here for these two young ladies. Come up here. Now, Crestview has been blessed to be a part of this effort, and I won't get through this without getting a little emotional. Because at least 3 families were involved in foster care when this opportunity came along. The Andersons, the Swinneys, and the Coopers. And I see Molly today. I think she was the only non-5 member that wound up with a little office duties as our secretary for a few years or months. So Molly, thanks for that extra service. But because of Crestview believing in this, and I would encourage other churches that are represented here, if you don't already have them in your budget, I know individuals do a lot, consider doing that. And this year, Crestview made the same decision. So Jordan, our minister of the word, has a little, we're going to scoot over here to the middle, and he's going to present them with a little token here, and it's a $10,000 check that the Crestview family decided to present to them. So,
Someone did the perfect logo. But I mean, the money's great too, but the logo. You guys.
well, anyway, somebody take a picture or two, if you would. Rhonda does not know about this, so she will be surprised as well. Is there anything else you want to finish with, Janae?
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, these type of things are humbling, and just thank you, thank you.
Yep, that's what I have to end on is Rhonda told a beautiful story of that teenager, and we could stand up here truly for hours and tell you about the first gingerbread house that was ever made by the 16-year-old that was in our home last week. The teen boys that had never experienced running water until they came to our home. The stories just continue, and we just really want to invite you into the space and into those stories so that you can just hear more. We love you all. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Okay, as we head off to donuts and whatever worship time comes, wherever you're headed or being here with us, enjoy the rest of your morning, and let's give them one last round of applause.
Thank you. So sweet.
All right, I think we can